I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to order. My name is Tristan Miller, the Sassy Sleuth.
I'm Melissa Meli, the spy.
I'm Tyler Riley, cop and a half.
You gotta take that again. One take wonder, Tristan Miller.
Leave that in.
Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/edcpad and browse the unmatched selections of audio programs. Download that title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/edcpad. My wife. It turned into Borat there at the end. It really did.
It took a turn.
It took a turn.
I saw.
It took straight into Borat.
I've never seen Borat.
Can I tell you?
You watched it recently, right?
Yeah, for the first time 2 weeks ago. And this is my official review of Borat.
Oh boy.
It might not be funny, but it's definitely art.
Okay.
That is my official. It's beautiful performance art. I don't know if it's funny. There was like literally one time that I really laughed out loud. And it's when he falls down a lot. And like that was the whole like bit. It was him falling down.
I buy that. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I think I saw it, or I saw part of it. I definitely saw part of it, and yes.
So today we're covering season 5 episode. Now is it 6?
Yes.
Finally, I've been saying it's episode 6 for 4 episodes now. Of Agatha Christie's Poirot, The Chocolate Box, based off of a short story of the same name, which is completely different.
Yeah, it is not as sexual as one might assume from the name, but it's still worth it.
Now, Tyler, I seem to remember you reading this one with us. Am I just hallucinating that, or I'm making that up?
I thought I did until I watched the episode, and then I felt very unsure if I had read it.
Give me
if
1
that
second.
makes sense.
Fair enough.
Give me 1 second. Let me just... No, Tyler, you did not read the short story with us.
Okay.
Oh.
The long and the short story of it is that. So, we open up this episode with a couple having an argument. The man is somehow a government official, and the argument is happening with his wife. Things get heated. An old woman is overhearing this whole thing, and then the younger woman, the wife, falls down a very long flight of staircase to her death.
Many
if I had a nickel.
Stairs. Yeah. By the way, I highly recommend the Netflix documentary The Staircase.
What's it about?
A woman
down staircases, obviously.
one woman in particular. Actually, yes. One person, really. And did her husband do it? Maybe. Did an owl attack her? Potentially.
I'll bet.
That sounds like it's a hoot.
Well, as much as owl attacks can be. But
You ever seen Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. Go ahead.
You ever seen an owl in the wild?
Yeah.
Yes.
My God, spooky. I love them.
They are so creepy. I saw some last week at the zoo, and one was staring at me like it might, have plans for later.
Or just wondering who you are.
Well, I was wondering, owl. But so that's the cold open, as it were.
Sorry, just to touch on owls one more time.
Yeah,
Owls,
yes, of course.
With legs,
All
the
owls
length
have legs.
but the length of their legs.
Oh, yeah. It looks like a Salvador Dali painting. It's beautiful.
Look at the gams on that barnyard. Am I right?
And
Is it barnyard or just barn owl?
just barn owl.
It was just barn. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
Barn owl.
that happened.
I got barn owl. I got snowy owl. What other owl?
Screeching.
Horny owl.
Horny horned owl.
Horn rimmed owl.
Great horned owl. Yes.
Okay, there we go. That's
Which is makes a brief appearance in Pocahontas, the Disney film, now available on Disney Plus. You can go to disneyplus.com and see what the heck they're up to. So,
And then also, that great Elvis Presley song, "You Ain't Nothing But a Horned Owl."
mm-hmm.
Crying all the time.
Hooting all the time. You ain't nothing but a great horned owl. Hooting all the time. You may caught a rabbit, but you ain't no friend. Turned into Tim Curry at the end.
But okay, the way this woman falls down the stairs, it looks like she is floating onto the stairs. It is.
Yeah.
It seems like she is just transported there as if by magic. It's really wild.
Yeah.
And then the fall lasts like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's half the episode. It's really remarkable.
Yeah.
And like the guy who plays the husband, like he looks so familiar to me.
Can I tell you, I looked him up. He looks so familiar to me. He's just like one of those British actors that's on like every television show in England. He was on Doctor Who, both the original and the revamp. He's been like on just so many.
How old is this man?
I don't know, but like it bothered me because I'm like, you look like someone I should be moderately acquainted with your work.
You know what he looks like? He looks like the guy from Downton Abbey to me. The gay one that no one likes.
I don't know Downton Abbey.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, my dads love it.
It's so good.
It's on the list.
Dame Maggie Smith at her finest. But we digress.
Yes, indeed.
So the next scene is with Jap and Poirot, right? They're coming down some stairs.
Yeah, they're coming to Brussels.
Yeah.
They're coming to Brussels, where everyone has a British accent.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Inexplicable. That makes me mad.
Okay.
But it's like, because if you're gonna do maybe it's because they're dealing with the consulate mostly. I don't know.
Okay, I'll buy that.
That's the way it justified in my mind.
Good.
But like I don't know. But Jap is there to be inducted into the police force in Belgium.
Is it like an honorary like recognition of good work or whatever?
He's assisted the police force enough that they're like, "You're one of us, yay!"
One of us. One of us.
And Mrs. Jap, who is much like Mrs. Columbo.
No, we don't see her ever.
Ever.
Is her name Emily?
Her name is Emily.
Okay, I thought maybe I was confusing it with Fozzie's mom. But they're both named Emily.
No, they're both named Emily.
Yes.
It's like, there's a shame Emily couldn't make it. And then Poirot's like, yes, but I'm here. And it's like, okay, cool. And then they bump into a couple of people Poirot know.
From the Belgian police force, right?
Yeah, from the Belgian police force.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Timothy Chalamet Sr.
Mm-hmm. And then they go off to have some lunch and reminisce about the one case that Poirot got wrong. Or so his buddy thinks.
So, in the short story, it is framed completely differently.
Yeah.
It's framed, I believe, much nicer, where Poirot is bragging about how good he is, and Hastings is like, well, nerds to you, Poirot. And he's like, okay, well, I did goof up this one time. And he was like, good Lord. And then he tells Hastings about it, which I think is better than this.
So I was wondering if they did it this way because they needed to make it a lot longer for the TV show, because it's a very simple short story.
Yes.
And it was one of my favorites, actually, I think.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly. I never remember. But yeah, it was like pretty simple, and I don't know what I've read.
Melissa Meli, the opposite of an elephant.
But yeah, I was thinking about how much they needed to prolong this, because I'm like, what am I going to talk about on the podcast? Because it's the simplest story.
Yeah, it really is.
Like, we could do this episode in like 10 minutes tops.
As I recall, with the short story, it is like literally 8 minutes.
Something like that. But of course, we can sit here and talk about owls for a very long time. So we have that going for us.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
The owls aren't what they seem. But he starts to reminisce, and Jap says, "Well, I'm a disinterested party. Why don't I try to figure it out, see who's right?" And this is the other thing. I do like the change, though, in as much as we do get a lot of Inspector Jap. And you know how I feel about that man.
Yeah. Anytime we can have Inspector Jap, we are all for it.
Just Jap. Ah.
What their sandwiches like? There's a nice tidy end to the whole business.
And there's the drop.
Oh my gosh. You know how The Walking Dead has the Talking Dead?
Mm-hmm.
I want there to be Night Jap following Just Jap. Like Nightcap, but with Jap.
Like Nightcap.
Oh my gosh. Oh. All right.
Yes.
All right, you got me.
I love it.
Jap.
I feel like Tristan looks like he's taking notes right now.
I'm trying to figure out, because we hear his full name later on during the ceremony, and I'm trying to remember it.
James.
Oh.
Arthur? No, not Arthur.
Because that's Arthur Hastings.
Yeah.
Harold. James Harold Jap.
Yes. That is his full name, and we get to see him without a hat a little bit. It's fun.
Quite a lot
Yeah,
in this episode.
yeah.
It's very nice.
We see a lot of things that I never expected to see.
Like David Suchet looking young.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay, so they start this flashback, and they have him looking trimmer and with more hair on the top of his head.
Yeah.
And this was made in what, 1990 something or other, right? How did they?
Yeah.
They don't have 1993 aired February 21st, 1993. So like they didn't have the anti-aging technology that they have to make.
He's not CGI.
No, they don't have like Michael Douglas in Ant-Man flashbacks.
That's interesting that's your point of reference for that.
I just watched it.
Oh, okay. I would have said Irishman.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, well, from what I can surmise, I think they put him in a little bit of a fat suit when he's playing Poirot. I think they pad out his suits.
Okay.
To make him rounder, because he's very spherical. Like, he's not...
Suit Delore.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I think they just like didn't do that, and then you can get
hair.
Yeah, basically he is a weave. He's got a dope ass weave.
Okay, so if they do that, then that makes a lot of sense, because the hair thing, obviously, I was like, okay, I understand how wigs work.
That was the thing I was thinking of, like, how did they do that?
Oh.
And also, I think with hairstyling, you can make your hair look pretty darn thin if you want to.
Yeah, they did it to his police buddy as well with the hair.
Yes.
Yeah. But I didn't realize that they were rounding him out for all the episodes, but that makes a lot of sense.
I think that's the case.
Yeah.
Could also what people in the makeup industry refer to as contouring. Is that a possibility that was used?
Sure. Yes, always a possibility.
AKA a girdle. A face girdle, aka contouring.
That's a thing, right?
Yeah,
to like
it is.
make your face.
Yeah,
look
it's like
Yeah.
you do shadows and highlights.
So,
So
what's the case?
So okay, his associate friend, whose name I never learned, is saying basically, oh well, it all started when this guy, what was his name? Paul de Roulard. That's it. When Paul de
Yeah.
Roulard died, and and Poirot says, no, it started when his wife fell down the stairs 2 years before. So that was what we saw in the beginning. Okay.
Mhm.
So now we are talking about the night that Paul de Roulard, the husband of this woman who had fallen down the stairs, is going to die. And they're having a dinner party.
Eats it, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
Yeah.
We'll get there. So they're having a little dinner party. They're talking about how he wants things to be said in Flemish. And his mom is like, hey, how about not in the church services, though? Those have to be in Latin because, God.
It would cause mass hysteria.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Just like when...
Because it's the Catholic Church.
Yeah, when Dante wrote...
I was hoping you would do that.
Because Dante wrote the Divine Comedy in Italian, which was at the time blasphemous. I think this is a little bit earlier on that he wrote the Divine Comedy, but same idea.
Yeah.
Because you didn't write things for people to read in the common speak, unless you were a heathen like Dante. They're talking about having things put in Flemish, and his mom is really concerned about this, thinks it's gonna, cause blasphemy and stuff. But
Blasphemy, blast for you.
yeah,
Everyone gets a little blast.
yep. They have a bunch of folks sitting around the table. There is their neighbor, and there's
What's the neighbor's name? I keep wanting to call him Gusteau, but this is not Ratatouille.
in fact, it's Gaston.
Yeah.
Gaston.
No,
Yeah. Gaston
one.
Rougeau,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Moit is like Gaston.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
And then there's a couple of other folks there, and the sister of the deceased wife, I believe.
Virginie.
Virginie Minot.
Like a wizard slave.
What?
The folks at home will get it.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to trust you on that one. So...
And then who's the chocolate man?
is that Claude Chantelier? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I can't pronounce French. I'm trying. But...
Who can take a sunrise?
So everybody pretty much leaves, and they talk about how Paul de Roulard's only vices are his job and chocolates.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's eating these chocolates, and man, if chocolates are a vice...
Oh, they have. You were raised Protestant. You should know.
I wasn't...
Any sort of delight, any sort of joy in the world is a sin.
I'm not that kind of Protestant.
So
Hey.
Look up John Kellogg.
Hey.
But yeah, not only the Candyman, the person that we were talking about, he brings a box of chocolates to Paul every time he visits.
Mm-hmm.
Every time. He's a chocolatier, or I believe. Like, he owns several chocolate shops, and so he will bring him chocolate.
It's one of the only jobs you can have in Belgium.
That's...
Beer,
Wow.
chocolate, and no clocks or Swiss. Mm-hmm.
Goes up to a Belgian couple, which one's you the brewmeister and which one of you is the chocolatier?
when I went to
also farming because sprouts.
yes, absolutely, got to get those Brussels sprouts. Delicious.
That's the thing; they're really good. My whole childhood was alive vis-a-vis the sprouts.
Yeah.
I was like, I had them finally.
It's
I'm like,
very divisive. There are people who hate Brussels sprouts,
and then there are smart people.
Yep.
Whoa. There are some smart people who do not like Brussels sprouts.
Name 3.
Sir. My mom, and my mom.
Those are a good 3.
I recant my statement.
Good example.
So he's eating those chocolates, num num num, in his office. Then he croaks. He just has once again the most extended death scene.
Yeah.
We've seen in Poirot. He does they do a close up on his hand, and his nails are grinding against his desk. It's très dramatique.
That's also definitely how he orgasms. That's. I was PC the way I said that. That can be used, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Let's do an
Censors?
alternate take where you say something slight. Nah. So
that definitely looks like when he reached a romantic peak.
there we go.
A romantic peak.
Well, I've climbed the Everest of my romantic interest, and I've reached the peak, and now it's a long way down, lads.
Yep.
One of us is going to die on the way down. You know that.
So he's dead. Everyone says he's had a heart attack, and Poirot says, nope, I don't think he did. And there's a whole to-do, because one of the chocolate boxes that was there is pink, one is green. And the one that was found with him had a green box and a pink lid.
Yes.
Or the other, yeah. And so the boxes were mismatched.
Yes.
So someone did something with them.
Yes.
And Poirot digs into this extensively. And then finds out what happened. I mean, basically, right?
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot to it. He has a whole friendship. He developed a whole friendship with Virginie Minard.
And she's the one that gives him the brooch that we so often see. He's clearly, he denies it, but he clearly had, feelings for her. He caught some
flower pot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the little flower pot pin. It's so great.
Yeah, and he clearly caught some feelings.
Yeah, it's sweet. Yeah. It's real sweet.
She looks like Simone de Rochefort from Polygon.com.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
All I could think of. But yeah, they have an affinity because it's because she's the one that insists at the trial that that Paul did not die of natural causes.
Right.
I believe she's got to be related or something to Paul for her to have this emotional stake.
She's the the sister-in-law.
The sister-in-law. Okay. But yes, also we see in this flashback Poirot in a police uniform, and this is something that I wanted to bring up.
Oh, please.
Because one of the pilots that I eventually want to pitch is just the Young Adventures of Hercule Poirot, where he's still on the force, he's a green detective. And you get to see how he learns everything that he knows. I think that would be really fun. Obviously, I want to play Poirot, but I'd be open to other things. It'd be a nice way to do essentially a soft reboot, as we say in the industry. But yeah, we figure it out from there. So do you want to take an ad break now?
Let's do it.
Hi. Welcome to the ad break. This is it.
Ooh, so lively.
Go to scavengersnetwork.com. They have stuff there. Look in the show notes for a link to the merch. Good night, everybody.
Ooh. Short and sweet. Simple. I like it.
Like chocolate.
Ooh. Yeah, everyone go get some chocolate after this, unless you're allergic to chocolate, and then don't
Even
do that.
then, live a little. Or don't.
Well, I mean, that would make it. If you're allergic, you'd probably then wouldn't be living a little. Yikes. So we are on social media, like so many others. And if you find us on Facebook, you will be... Nope. I can't even go around the back way of that sentence.
If you find us on Facebook, you will be rewarded with a page.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. So that is /ADCpod. Just find /ADCpod or @ADCpod on Twitter and Instagram, and that'll get you there.
That'll do. That'll do.
That'll do it.
That'll do.
Container.
Oh.
Bulk.
Hardly know her.
Tanker.
Hardly know her.
Passenger.
Hardly know her.
Naval. Offshore. Special purpose. These are types of ships, but only one ship can get you early access and bonus content to the Amateur Detective Club, and that is a membership to our Patreon, patreon.com/ADCpod. Join for as low as $1 a month. Patreon.com/ADCpod. And sail away on your membership today.
Come sail away with me. And as always, I am legally obligated to say these words that Melissa forgets every time. Butt soup.
So meaty.
I
no.
remember. What was that the slogan for again?
The soup.
Right. Sorry, I just had a visceral. Oh boy. Okay, so hey, so we're back. So basically Jap gets his commendation. He's an honorary member of the Belgian police force. Then they sit down and they're at a buffet and Jap says, looks like it's it's help yourself time, Poirot. Which is like, that's what I'm gonna say from now on. Help yourself time.
I definitely want to say that to my kids. I want to learn how to swim. Help yourself, time.
In you go, lad.
Just kidding, future child services listening to this episode.
They're going to go back through all of the episodes of your podcast to see what went wrong.
It seems, Mr. Riley, you made some inappropriate remarks on the episode entitled The Chocolate Box. Do you want to explain yourself?
Yes, I took one to the candy shop. I let them lick the lollipop.
Is this a nursery rhyme?
I went
unfamiliar.
Kept going. Yes, it is.
So they have a buffet, or a buffet if you're British.
Sure.
I will slap you to sleep.
Listen, that's what they say. They call it a buffet. Must like a filleting knife. Have you not heard?
Okay.
English people
Continue.
famously hate French people. I don't know what to tell you, Tyler. It's like a whole bit at this point. They're still mad about 1066.
You're a whole bit at this point.
Thank you. I'm trying to get out there. Anyhow. So, right. And then they all sit down to have the rest of the meal and get the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm.
which is where Poirot investigates as he does, and he goes and he figures out. He like talks to the old Candyman.
Candyman can. Yeah.
And he doesn't get much from there other than like the boxes were switched. He confirms that the boxes were switched at some point.
Yeah, because of like.
And so he's trying.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Because of the colors of the lid was, color of the lid or the base, like the colors of the boxes, like just didn't match up, which led Poirot to believe that the boxes were switched, as you said.
Yes. So basically, Poirot's been suspecting poison, as has Virginie, and she sets up a meeting with Claude, I think, and to talk to him, and so that Poirot can eavesdrop on their conversation. And she gets out of him. He says, "Yes, it is as if I had pointed the gun at him and shot him myself." And then they're interrupted by the mom, Madame de Roulard, coming in and saying, "Poirot, what are you doing here? Did you just break into my house?" And, it's a whole to-do with the Belgian police. They're like, "Poirot, what you doing in this house?" And so he, has basically figured everything out at this point.
Yeah. He gets scolded by his superior officer that's like, let it go.
And which inspired Clueless to use "as if" as a recurring catchphrase for its characters.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's exactly where they got it.
Yeah. We missed something, which is that he goes to Paul's pharmacologist, and he would pick up. There was a person that would pick up his medication and Paul's medication and bring it to him.
Yeah.
Every day, and his medication So what he has figured out is that someone was slowly poisoning him rather than one big dose of poison, because they do like blood work or whatever, and they're like, we can't find any like traces other than like his usual medication that's in it. So someone has disguised the poison with his medication. And basically he figures out that like, well, the only person that had opportunity and presumed motive that he has to figure out is Paul's mother.
Yeah.
And he's like, but why? And she's like, he murdered his wife, and I couldn't live with that. And also, he killed his wife. He's a sinner, and I'm dying. I'm 6 months. I have 6 months to live, so I got rid of him. Also, his policies were bad for the country. So
yeah, she's real upset about the idea that the church services might be in Flemish pretty soon.
There's a lot going on with her.
There's the whole heathen thing. But yeah, so she had bad eyesight, which is why she didn't recognize that she was putting the wrong lid on the wrong box. And that's pretty much how Poirot gets to the bottom of it, because it's like, who would have made this silly
very
mistake?
Obvious mistake.
Yeah, because, I mean, they're pink and green. They're pretty
literally
different colors.
contrasting colors.
Yeah.
Cosmo and Wanda.
But
or complementary if you're an AKA Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Mm-hmm. So, yes. So she put the poison in his chocolates and switched the box lids accidentally, and planted the pill capsule in, I believe it was Claude's jacket. So suspicion would be thrown on him. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so then finally Poirot reveals this, and he says, "Hey, listen, Virginie and I agreed that we weren't going to say anything and we were just going to let her die because, what the heck is the point? And
Yep.
they do show a flashback to the murder of his wife where he literally took the rug out from underneath her, which is why she went flying.
Yeah.
It makes the whole thing make a lot more sense in retrospect.
I can show you your death.
Aww.
Yeah, essentially. He just swipes that rug out from underneath her and she... Woof. Yeah, pretty wild stuff. But at the end, Poirot is somewhere talking to an old friend, and
one of his police force buddies comes in to the buffet.
Yeah, and they're chatting, and he says, "Oh, come meet my sons. This is Henri, and this is Hercule." And he says, and you can see how pleased Poirot is by the fact that this boy is named Hercule, and he tries not to show favoritism. They're like teenage or young 20s boys at this point. And he says, "Well, and you of course know my wife." And in walks Virginie and smiles at him. And it's clear that she named the boy after him. And it's real sweet.
Suchet plays this moment really beautifully because, like, once again, it is, like, clear that he had, like, this is someone that he caught feelings for and has clearly, like, thought about on a daily basis because he puts that vase brooch on his lapel. And you can see that he is both happy and, like, deeply heartbroken at the same time. It's a really subtle, beautiful performance from Suchet in this moment.
Yeah,
when
his
a vase becomes a vase. I was here for it in his eyes.
Suchet does a really fantastic job in this whole episode. He's just his he gets to play his more subtle moments, because he's so good at the comedy, but he gets to do a little bit more of the dramatic in this one too.
And Philip Jackson is also, like, really good in this episode. I also like that they get along the entire episode. I like when my dads don't fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Papa Poirot and
absolutely.
Daddy Jap.
So what do we think of this episode? We're kind of getting into it already.
Or Japa.
Papa?
Like Papa.
No. Yep. Cuppa Jap. Cuppa Joe. I guess I'll go first.
Sure.
10 out of 5 out of 5, I guess, is what we do. I had a hard time paying attention to this episode because I've been easily distracted lately. But I loved seeing young Poirot. The case was solid. I was already familiar with the case, which is another reason I was, like, not paying as much attention to it. But I remember liking the short story a lot as well. It's also nice to see him kind of struggle with a case in a way that's, like, because he's younger and he doesn't have his old method laid out. Mm-hmm. I do miss that in the short story, Poirot says to Hastings, if I ever get too egotistical, just say chocolate box because it's the one that got away. Whereas in this, it doesn't really, like, get away as so much. He makes that choice similar to, like, Murder on the Orient Express, which I don't really... I would have preferred it to be still something that bothers him. But, what can you do?
Right, that's right.
But overall, like, all the acting was great. I love seeing Jap as much as we did. Did bother me that no one in Brussels has the same accent as Suchet. That's confusing. And, like, I get that maybe not all the actors they hired could do it, but, like, 2 of them do it, 2 of them don't, but there's no clear reason why. I would have liked that to be explained more.
So what was your rating?
5 out of 5. Loved it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5. I think I have similar criticisms. I didn't, for some reason, care about the accents as much. But I just the little change made it a little less impactful in terms of, Poirot's the one that got away thing. But it's real fantastic. Like, it's easy to follow, even if you're not paying as close attention. And it's a simple case, and we get some really great performances out of our main cast. I loved finding out where that pin came from. Yeah. Good episode. Would watch again.
I give this a 2.5. It was very much in the middle for me. I enjoyed it while I was watching it, but I don't think I'll remember this episode next week.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, and my rating, I try to rate when it's an adaptation. Like, I do keep in mind that it is an adaptation of something I've probably read before. But also, as an episode on its own, I can understand where you're coming from, Tyler. It's not like the most. I think I'm fond for that short story and even just the concept of a young Hercule Poirot,
Yeah.
If I'm being real, I prefer when he's paired up with Japp instead of Hastings. I love Hastings, but I prefer James Harold Japp.
Yes.
Any other closing remarks? Oh, yes.
Why don't we talk about what we're going to watch next week?
That is correct.
So, are we doing it? We're going to, what we talked about before?
Finola Hughes?
Yeah, Enola Holmes.
Yes. I forgot.
We're gonna watch Enola Holmes, this movie we've been hearing so much about on Netflix, and it is starring Millie Bobby Brown and Henry Cavill and Sam Claflin. When Enola Holmes, Sherlock Holmes' teen sister, discovers her mother missing, she sets off to find her, becoming a super sleuth in her own right as she outwits her famous brother and unravels a dangerous conspiracy around a mysterious young lord.
And where are we going to watch this, y'all?
On the Netflix.
Enola Holmes.
I don't understand.
Oh, in all of our homes.
Yes, yeah.
Sounds similar enough to Enola. Therein lies the humor.
You love it when you explain a joke, especially right at the end of an episode.
Are rhymes jokes? More tonight at 11.
After Just Japp.
After, what is it? Night Japp.
Yeah.
I have I appreciate what you did, Tyler. I was just being a dummy on purpose. But for most of my childhood, I was told that rhymes were jokes, and then I started doing stand-up, and I was lied to by Mel Brooks, is what I'm saying. With that, I now call this meeting of the Amateur Detective Club to a close.
Gavel sound or Cavill sound.
Oh, that one I got.